Hello, my YouTube family. I hope you had a blessed day. Our aim is to teach you something about the food the FDA allows us to consume so you can make educated purchases when feeding your loved ones. Seek the advice of a medical or nutrition professional prior to making any changes to your diet. Out of the millions of potential subscribers, we just want to reach one so each one can teach one. Let's get familiar. In today's episode, we dig deep into a box of Captain Crunch Berries. This one kind of hits home because I grew up eating this by the bowlful. I literally used to look forward to breakfast every morning specifically for this cereal. Even before I knew why, I was hooked on this stuff. The best part of this cereal for a little kid is when the flavor soaks into the milk. So then you have a bowl of flavored milk left over from all of the so-called quote-unquote crunch berries that are in the cereal. For anyone who has ever had this cereal, I don't have to tell you how good this tastes. I've had many of the flavors from the regular Captain Crunch, the Christmas Crunch, Peanut Butter Crunch, the Oops All Berries, and all that. So I have a lot of history with this cereal, this particular line. Now, the bowl I used was way too big for a little kid, but I couldn't get enough of this stuff. As I got older, I stopped eating it so much, and I started craving more of my native cornmeal porridge and also oatmeal. It's no secret that these cereals are heavily processed and overloaded with sugar, but there are some things in here that make it some of the most lethal and toxic food you can eat. Let's dig a little deeper. What is not generally known is that Captain Crunch was developed to recall a recipe of brown sugar and butter over rice, requiring innovation of a special baking process, as the cereal was one of the first to use an oil coating for flavor. So that would kind of explain why there's that film over the milk when it sits in the milk for a while. As always, some of the ingredients may not be totally bad, but there's quite a few here that we need to discuss. Corn flour. According to the health experts, corn flour is usually made from GMO, genetically modified maize, and largely affects the nutrient absorption process. It is high in phytic acid and hinders the body from absorbing and using essential nutrients. It all depends on the sourcing and processing of corn, whether the flour will be healthy or not. So to be on the safe side, avoid packaged corn and go for the fresh ones, and make flour at home that is easy to use and healthy too. Oat flour. Research shows that oat flour is generally good for the body, providing it is not mixed up with anything unhealthy or heavily processed. Sodium citrate. Sodium citrate is a sodium salt of citric acid. It is commonly used in food as a flavor enhancer or preservative. It is what gives many sodas their sour and slightly salty taste. When used in foods, it is highly unlikely to cause any adverse effects as amounts used are very small. However, sodium citrate also has medical applications. In this case, there are a few things to be aware of. Natural and artificial flavor. Both natural and artificial flavors are synthesized in laboratories, but artificial flavors come from petroleum and other inedible substances. Natural flavor can refer to anything that comes from a spice, fruit or fruit juice, vegetable or vegetable juice, edible yeast, herb, bark, bud, root, leaf, yes, we're still going, meat, seafood, poultry, eggs, dairy products, or anything fermented from those foods, according to Food and Drug Administration spokesperson Deborah Kotz. It's an essential oil or an essence or product of fermentation, or one of 3,000 chemical additives, or actually 100 different things vaguely related to food, all conveniently and anonymously lumped together from a cohesive taste reminiscent of a single real-world flavor. The significant function in food is flavoring rather than nutritional. So let's take, for example, natural blueberry flavor, which is extracted in a lab from a real live blueberry that was plucked from a real live blueberry bush. Note that the flavors can also come from other fruits, vegetables, seeds, or any other natural sources. Now, when comparing that to an artificial blueberry flavor, which begins and ends its life in a laboratory, it's made to taste like blueberry through an amalgamation of man-made aroma and flavor chemicals that befit a blueberry. Malic acid. There isn't too much research about this, but it is said to have health and skincare benefits. It is also said to boost sports performance, help prevent kidney stones, help alleviate pain in those with fibromyalgia, and it can supposedly be used as a treatment for dry mouth. Due to a lack of research, little is known about the safety of long-term or regular use of malic acid supplements. However, there's some concern that intake of malic acid may trigger certain side effects such as headaches, diarrhea, nausea, and allergic reactions. Red 40. Oh boy, Red 40. Red 40 is a chemical compound that comes from coal tars. Dyes made from coal tars are created by mixing various fragrant-smelling hydrocarbons like benzene and toluene. Back in the day, think ancient Egyptians, dye was made from things found in nature, like flowers, leaves, roots, etc. Over time, however, scientists have learned how to create these colors in the lab. This is where dyes like Red 40 made their debut. According to the Center for Science in the Public Interest, some people who have come in contact with products containing Red 40 have had allergic reactions such as swelling around the mouth. Research has also shown a link between Red 40 and hyperactivity in kids. This one is bad, actually horrific. I have a 2-part series coming up called The Color of Poison. I will be going over all of these lab dyes in complete detail. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss those videos. Yellow 5. Yellow 5 is also known as Tartrazine or E102. Yellow 5 is widely used in the making of potato chips, jams, candy, drinks, and even pet food. It is also added to shampoo and other cosmetic products as well as vitamins and certain medications. Yellow 5 is banned in Austria and Norway, and other European countries have issued warnings about their possible side effects. It is still freely and extensively used in the US, however. This will be covered in my 2-part series. Blue 1. Blue number 1 is called Brilliant Blue, and, as is typical of modern dyes, was originally derived from coal tar, although most manufacturers now make it from an oil base. Blue number 2, or indigotine, on the other hand, is a synthetic version of the plant-based indigo that has a long history as a textile dye. This will also be covered in my 2-part series. Yellow 6. Yellow number 6, a toxic chemical, is a sulfonated form of Sudan 1. This poisonous substance was one of the original petroleum azo compound dyes developed in the late 19th century during the European textile boom. Sudan 1 is classified as a level 3 carcinogen, meaning that it caused cancerous tumors in lab animals, but has no specific link to cancer in humans. A tiny proportion of people express an allergy to yellow 6 and experience symptoms such as hives, asthma, and skin rashes. This will be covered in my 2-part series. BHT. BHT is a chemical cousin to BHA that is also listed as generally recognized as safe. It too is added to food as a preservative. The two compounds act synergistically and are often used together. BHT is not a listed carcinogen, but some data have shown that it does cause cancer in animals. B-complex vitamins: niacinamide, thiamine mononitrate, pyridoxine hydrochloride, riboflavin, and folic acid are B-complex vitamins. I couldn't determine whether they are bad or good in this particular instance, so you'll have to research that on your own. The rest of these ingredients are bad enough, so you shouldn't be eating this at all. One last thing I'll tell you. When looking at these labels, always look at the serving size. In this example, the sodium content of the cereal by itself is 270 milligrams and 340 milligrams with vitamin A and D fortified skim milk. However, according to the serving size, this is measured per cup. How many people do you know who just eat 1 cup of cereal? Or better yet, how many bowls do you own that is only 1 cup in volume? Remember, the American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day and moving towards an ideal limit of no more than 1,500 milligrams per day for most adults. You could easily eat more than a cup of cereal. Now imagine that plus all of the ingredients from the milk. Even with healthier milk, just look at how many toxins you'd be mixing into it. People, again, the blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, these issues are coming from the food. Some of these ingredients have also been linked to cancer. The toxic ingredients added to our food and misleading labeling is killing us. On a side note, I asked some cousins in foreign countries to look for this cereal and tell me what the ingredients are in their version. They couldn't find this in England, where they shop, and they couldn't even find a regular flavor Captain Crunch. In Canada, they couldn't find this cereal, but they did find the Captain Crunch regular flavor. Here's a comparison of their ingredients and ours. Notice the only one that contains the cancerous food colorings are the US versions. Here's a comparison of the nutrition facts. Sorry I didn't translate this panel, but the important parts are self-explanatory. So ask your politicians you believe in why an American company is feeding toxic, cancer-causing chemicals to the American people, while the Canadian people get to eat the same cereal without the poisons. Food Deception Alliance, people. Obviously, they can manufacture this food without the poison in it. Please read the labels. If you don't understand what you're reading, check back here on this channel or simply send us an email and we may already have research that'll help you understand what you're eating. Most importantly, always research for yourself and consult a doctor with any specific questions or nutrition professional. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this valuable information with your loved ones. Click the notification bell so you'll be notified when we upload new videos. Find the Awakening Frequency on Twitter and Instagram, and also Facebook. I'm not a doctor, nutritionist, nor do I have any experience in the medical or health fields. I'm just a person whose health was impacted in a positive way just by changing how I eat. Seek the advice of a medical or nutrition professional prior to making any changes to your diet. We are the Awakening Frequency. Out of the millions of potential subscribers, we just want to reach one so each one can teach one. Peace.